In my thought, I'm thinking, all right, I want every buyer to be able to purchase in a condo, because what's that doing? It's creating a larger buyer pool and more hype for that condo, and it's going to increase your values. Now what we're seeing maybe, and I'm not saying this is happening now, but this could, where the adverse effect could happen is a lot of FHA sales have happened where now the prices have dropped and we could start seeing those foreclosures.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about rents that are soaring in cities. We're going to be talking about foreclosures and the top 10 cities that may see some foreclosures in the future. And the third topic is the coming soon status and how one MLS is actually eliminating that status. So definitely three interesting topics. Let's start with an article from the Washington Post, a local small little publication here in the district, in the DMV. And the article is entitled, "Rent Prices Are Soaring as Americans Flock Back to Cities." Shawn, the article goes on to detail there's one instance of a 33% rent increase. I don't think that is worth discussing. But what they do go into detail is that in a lot of major cities, rents are coming back and are increasing around 10%. There's still those bigger cities like San Francisco, New York, San Jose, where they haven't quite recovered. But by and large, rents are coming back in cities. And Phoenix, among more than a dozen cities, have seen over a 10% spike in rents in the past year. What are your thoughts on rental prices coming back in cities?
That is amazing. I'll tell you what, I guess it really depends on where you're at, right? There are some cities that are still struggling. I feel like niche markets, if you look at niche markets like our Arlington condo market, I don't think they're coming back yet. There's still a lot on the market for sale and for rent. That'll churn. That'll start coming back as people start moving back in. But we have seen the single family and townhouse market very competitive for rents. A couple of our teammates were in competition to get these rentals, and people were going above asking price, which is not normal. You know, it's not something that we've seen much before. And my thoughts on this are, what is causing this? And one contributing factor could be the lack of inventory on the buy side. So there are a lot of people, and I have clients in this situation right now where they either got priced out or they're just tired of looking, right? So the prices keep going. The competition is so fierce on the buying market that they're now have sold their place, and they're like, well, we're going to have to find something to rent because guess what? School's coming back in. We want our kids to go in the same school that they were in before. They want to stick in that same school district. So they're going back to rent. And I think there's a lot of people in this situation that thought they were going to be in by this time frame, and now they're not. So now they're jumping. And they're saying, all right, well, we got to do something. We got to find something. So we're going to pay you whatever you feel like. That is causing that surge, which ain't the funnest, right?
No. One real estate agent said, I tell my buyers it's a terrible time to buy and an even worse time to rent. Not the rosiest of pictures from Shay Tor, a realtor with Remax Ascend Realty in Scottsdale, Arizona. The statistic I was looking for was nationwide rent prices are up 7.5% so far this year, 3 times higher than normal, according to apartments.com. Also goes on to say that the most popular rentals are apartments and single-family houses in these mid-sized cities. So it's not massive. It's not saying, hey, in New York City, guess what? We're back to normal. No, it's saying, in these, Stockton, California, Boise, Ventura, Sacramento, Stamford, Connecticut, made the list somehow. And they've done, some human interest pieces on these people that are offering, $500 more per month for rent, or one individual in Boise that was paying $750, now he's paying $1,450 with a couple roommates. So certainly something to watch. And, bringing it back home here in Arlington, there are, we're still seeing rental deals out there. We're still seeing, 1 month, 2 month free. But there is an apartment company, Ditmar, that recently asked the Arlington County Board for a variance for using some of their vacant apartments as short stay hotels. Think 3-day stay to a 30-day stay, something like that, because they are not being leased. Now, the response to that is, well, why don't you just lower the price of your rental? You signed up as an apartment. Now that renters are struggling, what you're now doing is essentially removing 25 or however many units, 25 units from that rental inventory, and you're taking those away, saying, hey, these are no longer available, but we have these. So you're artificially decreasing the demand, trying to get a workaround here, when instead you should just lower the price of a property that isn't renting. What are your thoughts on that?
That's actually a really good point. I didn't think of it that way. I'm always like, oh, well, let them try to do that, because I've seen new places going up. I actually stayed in one last year where it was called Y Hotel, took over a portion of that until all of these units could be rented out. So I was thinking, well, if they did it, why wouldn't it be okay for another company to do it? But that's a good point. Why not just lower the rental values? But you've got to think in a corporation's mind, it might be stockholders or something else that is pushing this and saying, hey, we got to keep this value up. How are we going to keep it up the best way that we can? That's short-term rentals. That's a higher cost or a higher price per day. Basically, you're getting for that. But, we'll see what the board says. When's that decision coming in? Do you know?
It's coming soon. I know there's an Arlington County board meeting today. I don't know if it's on the agenda today. But, just imagine you're signing up to live in an apartment. Now all of a sudden you have tourists coming in, and you're
right.
telling people where the pool is. You're telling people where the amenities are. They could rent it for a 3-day holiday weekend with essentially no repercussions.
Yeah,
you didn't sign up to live in a hotel.
That's very true, and I did see that in the one example that I stated that I lived in for a little bit. I was in a short-term situation, personal situation where I had to be there for a couple of weeks, and that's exactly what was happening. Is the people that lived there always were like, oh, well, you got to go to this door to use that. You got to go upstairs, but a lot of times they would restrict the people that were renting there full time got use of the pool. The people that weren't there full time couldn't use the gym, couldn't use the pool. So maybe they could restrict in those ways. I think that would help their argument a little bit if they were going to say something like that. But it's true. Like, how would you like it if all of a sudden you're just living, chilling, and next door there's a huge party going on for a weekend of people that just came in to party in the nation's capital?
Yeah, either way, the rent's increasing. Maybe they were too high to begin with, but if you're telling me that you want to change the type of property that you're offering because no one's renting the apartment, I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm not leasing what you're renting. And so that to me caught me off guard. Didn't pass the smell test for me. All right, let's move on to our second topic. This is Foreclosure Watch from Inman.com. These are the top 10 most at-risk cities in the United States for foreclosure. A new report came out from the American Enterprise Institute, found that 14.7% of 7.6 million mortgages backed by the FHA were delinquent in May. An additional 10% of those loans were delinquent by more than 90 days, Shawn. So people keep talking about foreclosures, short sales, this, that. I'm going to get a good deal. And we haven't started seeing it yet, but we're slowly, seeing signs that people are still delinquent. And these are the top 10 areas where this is happening. We'll fly through the list. We have Atlanta, Georgia, 17.2% delinquent loans. Houston, Texas. Chicago, Illinois, surprised me. It has Naperville and Evanston, which are nice areas. This isn't, these are like upper middle class areas. It's not the lower end of the market. We have Dallas, Texas, Plano, Irving, Washington, D.C., Arlington / Alexandria. Total delinquent loans, 18.8%. Total of seriously delinquent loans, 14.5%. Maryland, Columbia, Towson area is also on there. Riverside, California, San Antonio, Fort Worth, and Philadelphia. So, Shawn, these percentages, they aren't 0. They aren't 5%. They're over 15%. Now, we do have some major differences between, what's happening now and what's happening in 2008. People still have built up a lot of equity. So even if they bought their house a couple of years ago, chances are, they could probably break even or probably sell it for more. But, with unemployment, with inflation, with a lot of market conditions, we may see more properties come on the market. So, Shawn, twofold question. Are the percent of delinquent loans going to cause more inventory, and are we going to see a spike in foreclosure homes?
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know where the basis is, right? So what's the typical percentage of delinquent loans? There's got to be a pretty high one. And they're going after the FHA market. The FHA market is usually people that can't get the conventional financing. So it's maybe a lower tier of financing. A lot of these you can get in at 3%, or there's really great programs in this, but they're a little bit higher risk. So naturally, they're going to be a little bit higher percentage than the rest of the loans that are out there. The problem I see here is that if you look again at different sectors of the market, right? Single-family housing market in this area is insane, and I doubt that a lot of these foreclosures will happen in the single-family market because they can just sell it and they'll be fine. Where I do see a problem is the people that bought condos in the last 2 years. If you bought before the pandemic, right when Amazon announced, you paid a premium. You paid a big premium, right? And now those people might say, hey, well, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna sell it in 3 years, right? And a lot of these people are very, they don't plan on staying for very long. They're here for 2 to 3 to 5 years and they're gone. And so they think, well, Amazon's coming and we should be good for the next 5 years. It's just going to increase. But then they saw unforeseen circumstances, and now the prices have actually come down. So if you're one of these FHA buyers and you put 3% down and the value drops 6%, guess what? You're 3% below what you paid, or you're 6% below what you paid for it, and you've got to come up with 3% just to sell it. They don't have the cash. They already put all their cash in. This is a big problem. And with condos, keep in mind that these buildings have to be FHA approved. So condos are different than houses and townhouses. Condos, when you're doing FHA or VA financing, you have to go and look to see that that building has actually done the paperwork and has the necessary stipulations that they can do FHA or VA loans. So this could be a big problem. I see in the condo market locally, this could happen. I don't see it in the single family market.
Let me ask you this, because you brought up FHA approved condos. Is being FHA approved as a condo building a good thing?
Typically, yes, it's a good thing, because if you're not, you're pushing away a whole segment of the market. Now, in the adverse thought is that when this happens, right, this could cause a lot of foreclosures in your building, which then could be an adverse effect. So normally in my thought, I'm thinking, all right, I want every buyer to be able to purchase in a condo, because what's that doing? It's creating a larger buyer pool and more hype for that condo, and it's going to increase your values. Now what we're seeing maybe, and I'm not saying this is happening now, but this could, where the adverse effect could happen, is a lot of FHA sales have happened where now the prices have dropped and we could start seeing those foreclosures because they were putting less money down. And so that could then have the total opposite effect of pulling values down.
I guess what I want to see from this article, or what I want to get from it, and I'm kind of reading it and putting my thought on how I'm interpreting it, is I want to see more motivated sellers. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. People that need to sell, as opposed to like put it on and let's escalate the price way above. People that are like, oh man, my life is in, not in trouble, but like this is a big event for me, and I really need to sell. I'm working with a condo seller in Clarendon right now. I sent them the net seller sheet. They're perfectly fine financially. they're just going to lose money on this condo because they bought it a few years ago. And, the Clarendon condo market, I don't know if it's topped out or plateaued, but, it's drawn back essentially, from 2020. And so they're going to be losing money on it. And, for them, it's an investment property. So it's not like they're a move-up buyer. But if you do own a condo and you do have to sell, what is your next move when you're not going to get as much as, you think you're going to get? I mean, if you're on the border of, going into foreclosure, I can't imagine that you're selling to buy another property. So maybe this is just going to further increase the demand for single-family rentals in Arlington or townhouses or larger condos.
No, that then does, increase the demand. If there are a lot of foreclosures, where are those people going to go? They can't buy. They're going to have to go to the rental market or move in with a buddy or something like that. But then, you look at their credit and you look at their issues, they're going to see that they got a foreclosure on them. And then
they're in the cycle. They're
whole
in it.
cycle, man.
Yeah.
It's pulling you down. So you have to be careful. I use myself as an example all the time, but I purchased a house or a condo, my first condo I bought in 2005 in the height of the market. And my plan was, I'll live in here for 3 years. I might rent it out after that, but I'll probably sell it. I'll gain money. I'll take that equity and I'll buy my next place. And that did not happen. It went the opposite way. And I feel for all these people that this happens to, because what I had to do was rent out that unit for less than what my mortgage was. So I was losing money every month. But I did the responsible thing, and I said, I can do this. I'm not going to go into foreclosure. I rented it out for a long time. I lost per month, but in the end, I was able to, then sell it at the right time, pull some equity out. And
so you had the luxury of riding it out for a little bit.
Yeah, I wrote it out for 10 years, actually.
And you were losing money for
10 years.
But a lot of people can't afford to lose $100 or a couple $100 for 10
That's
years.
right.
And they're going to take a really, really big haircut on that.
Yeah,
so
it's scary.
I keep seeing, 10, cities we need to watch, foreclosures that they're coming. When are they going to come? When are they going to be here? I don't know.
They always talk about foreclosures and when are they coming. And if you look at anything, you look for foreclosures in our system, there are none. There is very, very few. But we've seen it when there were a ton. So, and we learned a lot about short sales and things like that when the market tanked. Hopefully we don't get into that.
All right, let's move on to our third topic. This comes to us from ABC News 5 in Cleveland. Housing market rules set to change in Northeast Ohio. No more coming soon listings, Shawn. The Realty Service is disabling this option coming on August 1st. Coming soon listings have been a hot topic on this show, on Realtor Facebook pages, on essentially anywhere where a realtor can pontificate about what may or may not be happening during the coming soon period. And basically, in our market, you can put the property on coming soon for 21 days. No one can see it. People are aware about it. And then it goes active and everyone can see it. Northeast Ohio, you can put it on for 14 days and then you can go see it. And what happened in Northeast Ohio is, and what's happening in many places that have coming soon listings, as you may imagine, people don't follow the rules. They put it on coming soon and then immediately allow showings. Or they put it on coming soon and then immediately change the status to pending or to under contract, meaning that essentially they're poking around their database, they're calling their agent friends, they're calling their buyers and say, hey, we can sneak you in here, you can get no competition, and what they're not saying is that the realtor can get, both ends of the commission. So, Shawn, I have very strong feelings about Northeast Ohio saying no more coming soon listings. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not a huge fan of coming soon listings. I don't use that status all that much, and I see more of a pain than anything else. And I see it for a couple of reasons. Now, when you're in a huge market like we're in the single family market, it's just insanity. And so I was taking around buyers and, I would tell them, listen, it's coming soon status. We can't see it until it goes live. And I would always call the agent and say, hey, when are you going live? Please let me know when you go live or if you plan on going early so that I can get my buyer in there as soon as possible. And then what would happen? They got 3 sight unseen offers. So there's people going crazy in that respect, right? Sight unseen offers. This is an actual scenario. I called, wanted to get in. I call him later. He's like, we already have 3 sight unseen offers. They haven't seen it. It'll be like, I don't even know how they were doing a contingency. It was just like a contingency for an hour to look at the house after it goes live or something like that. I don't know. But that's what you're dealing with. And then all the people that have waited and played by the rules and said, all right, well, I can't show it until then, or are not crazy enough to put a sight unseen offer in, are losing. Now, is that survival of the fittest? I don't know. In my opinion, I think you're always going to get the best deal for your sellers if you hit the market. And my thing is, I always hate trying to or taking an offer first day on the market, or like, unless you can tell that this is a super amazing offer. But my strategy always is, I want to wait through the weekend. I want to get as many contracts as possible. And I want to get the best deal for my client and highest price that I can, right? I don't think you're doing that service for your client if you're going coming soon and you get 3 sight unseen offers and your clients take it, you know? And let's be honest, like, if we get an offer, we have to disclose it and give it to our sellers and present it to them. So naturally they're going to be like, wow, it's all cash and it's, you know, $20,000 above asking. Meanwhile, they could have got $100,000 above asking if they would have just waited. But you can see how that push and pull happens. And so in my opinion, let's just get rid of the dang thing. I mean, let's just go active. When you're ready, go active, all right?
The CEO of MLS Now, which is the realty listing service in Northeast Ohio, said there was a lot of distrust that was growing. And basically, we can summarize the coming soon status as there was a lot of distrust that was growing because, you know, agents, they're going to do everything they can to get their buyers in, and they're going to do everything they can to sell the property and move on to the next property. And Monday afternoon, Zillow reported more than 700 home listings classified as coming soon in Ohio. I'm of 2 schools of thought. One, I think the coming soon listing status has been abused since the day it was released. You can sit there and say, yeah, no one's seen it and no one's done this or that. But, you know, I don't want to say everyone knows, but everyone knows what's going on. But my other thought is, man, you're buying a property. You better be glued to your phone and the notifications, because if your dream home comes on, you know, Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m., man, you got to go see that thing like Thursday at 3 p.m. Like, it would be so beneficial if there was a way to take a deep breath, see a property that's going to come on the market a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and be like, okay, let me start planning some things. Let me check out the neighborhood, check out the streets. And unfortunately, realtors and consumers and clients alike have completely abused the coming soon system to the point where agents can no longer use it because it's now being done as a disservice both to clients, buyers that can no longer see the property because it's under contract, and to sellers that are not going to be getting top dollar because their scared listing agent is going to suggest that they take an offer before it goes on the open market.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem. I see it both ways. You know, and I see it beneficial. It can be really good, but there's always going to be the rotten apples that screw it up for everybody. And so you've got to be careful about that. You're protecting the consumer. I don't think, you know, I could be swayed either way, but I think it has more downward effects than anything else because people are going to take advantage of it, right?
I like coming soon when it's like 2 days later.
Right.
Like 1 day later. And you might be thinking, okay, well, why does it matter? It's just 1 day. It's still a day. Like, it's still, 24 hours or 48 hours. It's not like, oh, this is coming soon, like next month, like delete. Like
at least you have 24 to 48 hours to say, all right, I can get over there, right? And 24 to 48 hours is giving those agents that want to take advantage of the system a little bit less time. When you've got 3 weeks out, that gives a lot of time for a lot of variables to happen and a lot of advantage and disadvantage in a lot of aspects. So
yeah, I think if there was one suggestion I would have to the Bright MLS or one thing I would change in our local MLS, maybe not get rid of it, but just chop it down from like 21 days to 7 days, just to see how that changes things.
See if that changes things. Yeah, because a lot of people were arguing for a longer coming soon status, and I think there was an argument for that back then, and I can't remember, and it all depends on the market, right? If it's a slow market, it's not really going to matter. When it's a hyper crazy market that we're in, it matters, right? And people are fighting over every house. Everybody's writing these crazy offers. And when you do the coming soon status, there's going to inevitably be these people that just lost on one down the street that are going to write, and they know what that one went for. They're going to come in and they're going to try to take it off the market as soon as possible, which great to their advantage. I've not the coming soon status, but I've used my knowledge based on what things have sold for in my competition to get the next one, right? But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, would love to know your thoughts on the coming soon listing status in the comment section below. Shawn, I don't know about you. Whenever I list a coming soon property in a hot market, like it's a hot property priced well, I just get bombarded with agents like, hey, are you allowing showings? Can I just sneak in? I'm just going to bring my contractor by. I'm like, dude, like, to stop, just, can you, like, please, I'm not trying to be Mother Teresa, but, like, this isn't Nam. This is bowling. There are rules. Like, follow the rules.
Exactly. That's how I am, too. I'm a rule follower, and I'm not going to let you in, so.
Cool. There you have it, another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.